this Canadian style resume. Now, people talk about, I'm not going to say that graphics are important or not. Everybody knows about it. I have one practical question about a Canadian style resume. So, when we create our resume, people tend to mention their job description, right? Under each role, that I was a manager and I did this, this, this. Now, I want to understand Canadian style resume, is it achievement based or job roles based? Because if you would be telling that I helped my company save 3% on expenses, is that what matters? Or saying that I'm responsible for managing expenses? Like, which line is better for Canadian style resume?
Numbers are better always,
Hmm.
because numbers are more loudly about your achievement.
Hmm.
That's one thing. And in the Canadian style resume, you have to focus on your skills again. I'll keep talking about it. Allow me to another couple of minutes. See, what is the difference? When I say skill, what is the difference between experience and skill? Clients come to me and I say, okay, let's sit down and list your skills. They struggle. They struggle a lot because, even after years of, nobody has talked about skills. We all always spoken about experiences. So just to give you an example, and if I say I have 30 years of coaching experience, it really does not mean anything to anyone. I mean, what does it mean? If I say I am a coach and I can create coaching programs, I can do need assessment, I can or conduct coaching sessions, I can engage with the participants, I can do an evaluation of those participants, entering later on as to what have they what have they implemented, develop a course around it. So if you have that set of skills, then your chances are, and everybody has those set of skills. The only thing is that we are unable to tell that story because we don't really know. So if you can tell that story in your resume, in your LinkedIn, and do on phone, because in Canada, your first interview is always going to be on phone. Or now, there are software that people please use it and you do an online screening. This is called a screening. And 90% or more people fail and you don't know why they failed. The reason is they can't tell their story.
So, Hamad, these skills, we refer it as keywords, right? So the best way to go about it is, what, from my understanding, I'm going to take your opinion on that. So we search a job, like Clark's in Canada has this job of an area manager, and they want these skills. Those skills are basically keywords. So these keywords will be reflected in my LinkedIn profile, in my resume, and everything should be aligned. Is that what you are trying to explain here?
Let's talk about your resume first. Your resume, because you're going to use more often, so that's reactive. Whereas your LinkedIn is proactive. You get a job, you apply. Your LinkedIn profile is when somebody is searching for someone like you. So you have to be very, very how your resume and how the ATS compliance level is in your resume. And all these keywords are really important. But if you ever, then of course that's keyword spamming. So you actually have to work with an ATS resume writer. And why, I'll just tell you. LinkedIn is proactive, which means if people are searching for people like you, if a recruiter is searching for people like you, they will probably shortlist 3 to 5 people altogether. So it is hardly anything. You're competing with 3 people or 4 people maybe. So that's the key difference. Now, what happens is that when we land here, we don't really see a value in spending whatever an additional $1,000 or $1,200 or $1,500 with in getting your LinkedIn done and learning how you should use LinkedIn and spending time with an expert. You think you can do everything. That's okay. I mean, as an educated person, you should be able to learn and do those people for years. They can get it done easier for you. So there is no I mean, you just get the job done and hit the road rather than spending your time and energy in getting it fixed and then struggling with it.
Mm.
So spending initial actually pay off.
That's a nice thing to know about. But how much is an average mentor program? Like, if I land in Canada tomorrow and I opt for a mentor program, so how much I should be looking at? Is it a one-time payment or is it an ongoing subscription? How does it work?
Well, there are various models. So if you to me and somebody says, okay, Ahmad, I need your coaching. So how do I use LinkedIn effectively? File optimize it based on this is the criteria that I really want to target this market, this industry, this is my job experience. How would you do that? And of course, resume. So I don't do ATS resume, but I have my associates who do that. Now, usually this whole package is within 1,000 Canadian dollars or approximately 1,000 Canadian dollars. In that, if somebody works with an ATS, you get additional help by paying another $150, $200 for interview coaching, for instance.
Okay.
Some with me, because I have a huge following, I spot hidden job market on a very regular basis. And what is that? Another question. Now, how many people know what is the hidden job market? Hardly anyone. So if I am a recruiter, if I am for instance, for an accountant, let's talk about accountant, an account receivable person, and I don't want to deal with 500 applicants. I just go and post a job on my profile. That's hidden job market. And there may be 5 or 10 people responding to that job. This week, I referred 2 jobs to people and they are being interviewed because there was nobody, well, maybe 3 or 4 people who had applied for those jobs. That's hidden job market. Active on LinkedIn, you're only focusing on Indeed or Workopolis or the job banks. You are actually competing with thousands of other people. And by spending that $1,000, $1,500, this is what you will learn. It's really worth spending. You have spent thousands to come to Canada.
Exactly.
And you are into a different ball game altogether. So if you don't learn that ball game, then if you want to win, you need to build those muscles, right? And by spending like this initial $12, $15. Now the other model is people work with you. They take initial amount of whatever, less than $500. They take it and they will then work with you, coach you until you get a job. But once you get a job, they'll take 1 month for $3,000 or $4,000. They will take that 1 month's salary. That's another model.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another model. So you go to one of the government agencies where everybody goes, and they will assign a mentor to you. And then that mentor, but that's a free service, which means it may be valuable for some people, but it may not be valuable for the rest of the crowd because you resonate to your experience and culture and all that. So these are 3 general models that are available. It's a matter of choice. Go for the most expensive model. They spend a lot of money there. Sometimes because of course, it's a personal choice. How do you approach a problem?
Exactly. Now, the thing is that, as you earlier suggested, that if your skill set is not up to the mark, you can go back to school, you can opt for a certification. And if your skill set is, if you feel it is at the optimum level, then these mentorship programs, they will definitely help you to land a job successfully. Now, I have $1 million question for you. Okay. And let's have it as a closing remark, and let's close the video after that. Now, how can a how ca- is it possible, I mean, let's rephrase it, is it possible that a new immigrant can land a job in their first month of arrival in Canada? Is it possible?